Welcome to Meaningful Mondays with the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, where we only know good people who do great things in our community. Whether you are a volunteer, a donor, or a nonprofit organization, each episode of Meaningful Mondays will celebrate you, our friends and neighbors who have a deep passion for and commitment to improving the quality of life for all in Middlesex County. So let's kick off the week with great conversations with remarkable people, businesses, and nonprofits making a difference right in our own backyard. Well, good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning in Middlesex County, and it's a meaningful one. But you know what? Every day in Middlesex County is just so special. But this, to me, is one of these special episodes because we have Fire Chief of the South District Fire District, in Middletown, Jim Trzaski. And here's a couple of fun facts, and we're going to share a lot of them during this. Jim and I hail from the Valley, so we feel like we're bonded, and we're really happy we're here in Middlesex County.
Absolutely.
But I want to brag about you, and then I want you to brag about you and your team and what you do for everyone in Middletown, Jim. I didn't know until we did the research on you, and we did do some background checks.
I have noticed that.
Oh, yeah. So 2020, Connecticut State Firefighters Association, you're inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Yeah, that was a very humbling experience.
Well, no, well deserved, because as we've gotten to know you, we know how deserving you are for that.
Thank you.
And then 3 decades of service. So,
right. Yeah.
My God.
I started in little town of Beacon Falls, in the Valley, if you will.
The Valley.
Where great things come from, Cynthia.
Yes.
Is that I started as a volunteer at 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
So I really truly have like 40 years in the fire service. And I was fortunate to get a job at the Naugatuck Fire Department in 1991. I worked there for 23 years before retiring, and I wasn't ready to retire. I had a young family, and an opportunity arose here at the South Fire District, where I started as a firefighter, and in a short period of time, rose to the training captain, deputy chief, and now I'm chief of this awesome department, full of some great people.
And I have to say, you do have great people, but it takes a great leader, Jim. I mean, they are so dedicated, and I can tell that. And we'll share some things about what we've done together in the past. But for everybody that's listening and or watching, just give us an overview of the mission.
Right. So the mission of the South Fire District, the basis of it is to save life and property, right? Obviously that's our forefront, that's our number one mission, but it's much more than that. We've embedded ourselves in the community, and we really truly believe in creating the relationships prior to a possible emergency, and really focusing on preventive measures. The best call to go on is a call that never needed to happen. And we have proven examples of it where we get the message out typically through younger children, because we all know in our busy days, Cynthia's not driving to work thinking about fire safety in her everyday role. But when we could capture a child and we could get that message out to them, and then they share those conversations with their parents, and it just keeps going on and on. So every time that we're having an opportunity to go out into the community, not only are we going out into the community to present ourselves or to help that association, whatever event they have, we're always coming out with a message, some type of fire prevention message for them to leave with.
And as a former first grade teacher, I can attest that when you touch a first grader, they go home and they really do embed the information in their parents.
And they're persistent, as we all know. Children are persistent.
Very persistent. So
the fire marshal said we have to check our smoke detectors.
There you
go.
They
will not go to bed until it's done.
They're very, very persistent. So let's stay on the theme of working with young people, because I just learned a little while ago, were tapped to do a very special program through, I think, Russell
one of your folks, Russell Parmalee. So could you
Yeah,
talk
Ryan
about
Parmley. Yeah,
that?
Ryan Parmley, our deputy
Oh,
fire
Ryan,
marshal.
sorry.
Yep. So Ryan has always been involved in the community. He's worked for burn camps. He's worked for other youth camps throughout his life. He's a retired Army drill sergeant. And when you really look at him, he looks like a drill sergeant.
Yes, he
He's six
does.
foot two. He's very formidable. He's like, intimidating, and you would think that he'd be the last person that a child would like warm up to.
Right,
But
right.
he has such a gentle demeanor and he really truly cares about the community. And he came to us, a deputy and I, and said, I'm really looking to create a collaboration with Beaman Middle School. Of course, you know, Cynthia knows how we are. We'll just jump right on it. So we had
Absolutely.
him jump right on it. We empowered him to put a program together. He got together with the Board of Ed and with his Fire Marshal James Mastriani, and they created a program with the Beaman Middle School with eighth graders. And what it is a STEAM program, science, technology, engineering, art,
Hmm.
mechanical. And what they've created is an interactive program between South Fire District and Beaman Middle School, where the kids will learn the theory of the mechanics and how it relates to the fire service. And after they do all of the classroom theory, they come here to the fire station. We entertain 300 kids, 300
Wow.
eighth graders over a
Wow.
3 day period. And we are their lab, if you will. We set up a ladder truck so they can learn about hydraulics and trigonometry with the Pythagorean theorem and how we have to calculate how the
I
ladder
remember
goes.
that.
We do, yeah, right. Useful. You would never think you would use it, but we do use it here. We go over hydraulic calculations and what we need to do to get the proper amount of flow of water out. We go over mechanical advantages of using rope systems. And those are just some examples of that. And last year was our pilot of doing it. And I know that it was successful because when I also mentor the deputy I mentor in the schools. So we're in at Beaman Middle School. We have a couple children that we mentor out there. And the teachers came up to us and they said, your deputy fire marshal and marshal they're amazing because these eighth graders came back and not one of them had a problem. Not one
Oh
of
my
them.
gosh.
Yeah. So when you could capture that, when you have a program to capture eighth graders and all of them were very excited about the program and not one of them had something bad to say, you're doing something right. So,
And it's experiential learning, and
mhm,
and the backstory is, as you just said, whoever thought that we would need trigonometry in the
right.
real world, and then
And when I went to school, I was an average student. I'd get my report card with D's and I'd tell my dad that's for dandy, but he didn't really truly believe that. But no, I did okay in school, but I didn't have that spark. Nothing sparked me for that. And then when I created this love of the fire service, and it made my learning
right,
easy,
right,
because it was something tangible to me and it meant
and it
something.
was purposeful.
And that's what we're trying to get out to the
Yeah,
students now. And you and I had this conversation earlier that not everybody is going to go to college, and not
exactly.
everybody's going to put that effort in there, but they have knowledge, skills, ability, they have talents that they could share and build careers that way.
Absolutely. I mean, we're proud to say that we have a trades award program, a scholarship for the Valley Regional High School.
Hmm.
And I'm just blown away when we see the teachers select the students based on the applications. But when I read them, I'm blown away about what the ambitions are of these,
Right.
of these students. They want to build submarines.
Right.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, I would never have thought of that as a thing, but also what you educated me on last week when we were at the firehouse was firefighting is a trade and it's really something
Yeah,
worthwhile.
it's a profession. It's not a job. It's a
Yeah,
profession. It's a career, and it affords you opportunities. When I started as a firefighter at 18 years old, and you plan out your life. I I I was testing to become a firefighter, and it's hard to get the job. It's highly competitive. So
right.
I went into a trade. I was a tool and die maker. a machinist, tool, and die maker for 8 years before I got on
So was my
as a
dad.
firefighter. That was your dad too? See,
Yeah.
more in common, Cynthia.
More in common.
That was my dad also. I followed in his
Yeah.
footsteps. But, getting an opportunity to get into the fire service and the opportunities that it opens for you, the training is endless. You could get college level training, you could go nationwide. And I did. And the thing is that to empower these young people to jump on these opportunities.
It's amazing to me. And again, Nick, and you have educated me on the evolving science of firefighting
Mhm.
because I know that every year there are new tools that are made available to keep us safe and for you to
Right.
fulfill your mission.
Yeah,
So,
and the technology far surpasses oftentimes what we could comprehend,
right.
but it's out there. And what you really have to do is you have to kind of weed through the technology
Hmm.
and not just jump on everything. You have to wait for it to be proven, and that's where the fire service, in my opinion, is a great prover of technology. Is like, well, we rely on it, but we also have to make sure we go back to our fundamentals and have
Hmm.
that, because if technology fails, we can't stop our operation. We have to continue on.
And at the end of the day, it's a human relationship thing that you are building. Yes, we're a great believer in not following the shiny object until we
Right, right,
really
right.
really have tried it. So, but let's go back to the relationships, Jim, because I think, and I'm sorry to say, I think people take your profession for granted.
Right. No,
We don't mean to, but we do.
yeah, I'm going to call 911. I'm going to call the fire department's going
Right,
to come. They're going to fix my problem, hopefully, and then they're going to move on. And when it's that seamless and it works, we're doing something right.
right.
But, it takes much more than that. It takes, a team, an effort. We
Yep.
have, here at the South Fire District, we're one of 74 fire taxing districts in the state of Connecticut. We also have Middletown and Westfield, and we do train collaboratively and we share ideas, and we oftentimes respond together. But here at the South Fire District, for us to get that apparatus out on the road with the 4 firefighters to show up to your home, whether it's a medical emergency, smoke detector, or God forbid, a fire at your home, it takes many people. It takes the fire commission to support us. It takes the public to support us, to come out and vote for our budget. It takes our staff, our administrative assistant, Elise, Lee, our tax collector. We have Kathy, who takes care of our finance. All of these wheels and cogs are moving
Right.
in the background, and what everybody sees out there is a shiny fire truck with the brave fireman getting off, right?
Well,
The end result.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's behind the scenes people that again, we need to give them a shout out, and I'm so glad you gave a shout out to the folks that are behind the scenes for you. Let's talk about some other collaborations that people might find a little interesting,
Mhm.
or we'll go back a couple of years in a minute and how you and I collaborated.
Right.
But talk about you collaborate not only with the Beeman School, but also with CVH and others.
Right. Yeah. So we have Connecticut Valley Hospital in our response district. At at one time, Connecticut Valley Hospital had their own emergency services that back probably about 15, 20 years ago were reduced and then eliminated. So the South Fire District now responds into
Mhm.
Connecticut Valley Hospital. Um, Knowing that this was going to occur, we created relationships with the administration at Connecticut Valley Hospital, the leaders there, and all different facets of the facilities and such. And now our fire marshals were asked to be involved with a adult firefighter program. So the bigger part of CVH is obviously they want to rehabilitate folks
Right.
and
Right.
mainstream them back in, which they're quite successful. I'm proud to say I sit on the board of directors there. I do see a lot of positive results come out of Connecticut Valley Hospital, and they're not just those buildings up on the hill. They're
Correct.
really truly investing in folks to rehabilitate them and make them a part of society. So we were able to collaborate with them with fire setters. So they've had quite a few. And most of the time in the fire service, we always focus on juvenile fire setters, in order to stop that prior to getting into an adult role. But we've created a collaboration with the doctors up there, and our fire marshals, James Mastriani and Deputy Marshal Parmalee, created a program with them that has actually gone international, and we're very, very proud of it. And
Wow.
they were asked to speak at a symposium up in Boston last year on it, and it's been quite successful.
My gosh.
But they don't start by accident, Cynthia. You have to get out there. None of us can operate in a silo. We have to get
Correct.
out there, join organizations, meet people, collaborate. And then all of a sudden you figure out, hey, maybe we could help each other
And
out.
it's that conversation, sidebar conversation, as people build the relationships and get to know you, and then we have a saying, and then you connect the dots, and
Right.
and something positive comes of it. So let's go back a couple of years, and I do want to give a shout out to Gary Wallace, who is on our board. But Gary came during the beginning of the Ukraine war. He noticed that the firefighters on the news didn't have the equipment and
Right.
everything else was being shipped. So talk about that, because I was freezingly delighted to volunteer to help you that day.
Talk
But
talk about a crazy grassroots, just like
right, it
pop up
was
out of
just,
nowhere. But how did it all begin? We had established a relationship with Gary
yep,
years ago.
right,
He's a retired police captain. We've always collaborated with him. Everything he outside activities he did with the police athletic league, anything to that matter, we were always involved in it. So we built those relationships. So when this came up, it was only natural that we could get together with
right.
this. And then we had Katya from
From
Wesleyan,
Wesleyan, right,
right? So she was our connection to the Ukraine, and when we all got together, we sat around at a table, right, all of us, and we're like, how could we do this? Now that you have a group of resources together who are focusing on one mission, who would probably, besides this mission we focus on, would never probably get together and collaborate on something,
right.
truthfully,
But
right?
the interesting thing is, all the firefighters from across the state, or fire departments from
Mm.
across the state, were so willing to donate equipment that they weren't using. And
Yeah,
here you
that's
were housing it at South Fire
Yeah,
District.
I'll tell you, the deputy and I got a little nervous at first. It started growing exponentially,
Uh-huh.
and it's just a true example of folks wanting to help, right? There was an international crisis going on.
Right.
People wanted to help. Emergency service people are people who want instantaneous reactions. Like, we need to help. We don't know how to help. We gave them that avenue. All of us
Right.
gave them that avenue. And when you look at it, and we were met with a host of some logistical problems, right? We leveraged things, with past Deputy Fire
Absolutely.
Chief Russ Jacobs. He's like, I know people who have boxes. I'm like, where does this
Exactly.
come from? He goes, I know a guy. All of a sudden, we had thousands of boxes, right?
And what
And
about medical supplies?
medical supplies, right? Yeah,
Right.
and then I forgot who got involved with that. And then all of a sudden, we have medical supplies coming.
Right.
Our connections throughout the Connecticut Fire Service, we did email blasts, and things started coming
Right.
up. So now we're like, oh goodness, now what are we going to do with it? We have all of this stuff. How are we going to get it to the port down in New York? I
Right.
have a close personal friend of mine. He's a chief in Bethany. He happens to run a moving company. He's like, absolutely, Jim, I'm on board. You know,
Connecting the dots. And
connecting the
Katja,
dots.
with her connections
Oh my
in
God, it was.
Ukraine, and she's just amazing.
Yeah, and the level of energy. Were we all exhausted?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But nobody gave up. And there was such a tremendous level of energy. And we all got together knowing that we could do
Right.
something good.
Right. And how many tons of firefighting
So
equipment?
like 7 tons of
7 tons of
yeah,
fire. I mean, that's like, think
that's a lot of
about that.
stuff. Yeah.
But that, but it's all, Jim, because of your real belief in giving back to the community and building those relationships. It's
Mhm.
it's really anything else that we should know about the fire company? Like, do you and your team ever sit around and go, I wish the community knew, fill in the blank?
Uh, that we're accessible.
Okay,
That,
that's a good word.
oftentimes when you look, you know, not everybody needs the fire department or emergency services on a daily basis. So when they call, they have their level of expectation of what should happen, you know. We do get calls for cats in a tree. We do get calls that, hey, my clothesline is broken. We had the strangest call the other day. They wanted us to sit with them while there was a Facebook marketplace transaction going on because they had nobody there and they were nervous and scared.
Oh,
Right. So
gosh.
when you look at that, that means to me is that they trust us.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that we continue that level of trust. Can we go to every thing that they're looking for us to do? Maybe not. But if there's a cat in a tree, we're coming to your house.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure that, you know, perhaps we could maybe get this cat, or we could give you ideas how to get the cat out of the tree. I know this is like a cliche, right? A cat in a tree. But this cat at this time means the world to that person.
Absolutely.
And if they call you for a service and you're like, we don't do that, and hang up,
yeah.
that just devastates everything that you've done to work for your community.
But the key word there is trust, and you don't get trust. It's so hard to get and
Right.
so easy to lose.
And I'm very fortunate that I have people that understand that, and they build that trust on the boots on the ground level as
Right.
well. You know,
Right.
on a daily basis, I get emails and cards back of how our people treated them during their time of need, and it's very heartwarming. And
Yep.
it makes you know that yes, we are doing the right thing here. So the South Fire District, where did we come from?
Yeah,
You know,
right.
fun fact.
Fun
So,
fact.
fun fact. So we were initially an industrial-based fire company for the Russell Company. The Russell Company was located where Stop and Shop is now on East Main Street, and they used to make brake parts. So back in the day, they needed their own fire protection. You know, out in the area where we are, it's
Right.
referred to as South Farms. It was a farming area, and they had their industrial-based fire company that would start to respond to emergencies in the area. Back in 1957, they created legislation to cut out a taxing district for the South Farms area. And at some point, I think it was around 65 or 66, somewhere in that area, the Russell Company fire department started to disband, and we built the station here where it was mainly a volunteer with some career firefighters. And then in the early 90s, everything transitioned over to the South Fire District, fully career. We have 8 firefighters on per shift on a 24-hour basis.
My gosh. Well, thank you for that. And thank you for one, building trust in the community, two, for doing what you do, three, for really believe in building relationships. We really appreciate that. Four, for the fun facts. Five, for being from the valley, so we
The
can
Valley, right? That's
share some stories. Fun fact here. We have had just one incident in our wonderful 1771 building, and we hug our fire departments wherever we find them because they were here within 2 minutes. So,
right. And that, you know,
to everybody out listening, hug your fire department.
no, and when you look at fire departments and communities, that's typically 99.9% of the time the pride and the ownership of the community.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
is that fire department and what they do for the community. And you notice whether they're career or volunteer, they do much more than respond to
Oh,
emergencies.
without a doubt.
They create a sense of community, and they really do truly weave themselves into the fabric of
Yep.
the community.
Well, thank you for what you do. And I just have one other question. What are you looking forward to in the next couple of months?
In the next couple of months, well, we're just coming off of we were fortunate enough to get a grant to put an addition and remodel our fire station.
Oh, good.
So we've created a community room for the community use, and it's been quite successful. We're doing a few more other facility improvements. So for the next couple of months, we're waiting for that to wean down a little bit. But we're looking to get even more community-based programs out there. We have another program that we call Community Connect. And that's through whenever we get a call for an emergency, we have an emergency reporting system where we have to do a series of reports. And the one that we were able to contract with has a lot of community outreach programs. So we're going to start pushing our community outreach programs where it's called Community Connect. And if you live in the South Fire District, you could sign up for it. And we'll send out weekly blasts of whether it's fire prevention, messages, or anything that's going on in the community or here at the South Fire District. We'll keep them informed. Also, with the Community Connect is that you could put in your personal information and information about your property. So when we're responding to your property, you live at 123 East Main Street, we could press on a little house icon and all of your information is readily available.
Wow.
It's quite a powerful tool.
That's great.
We're looking to push that out even more so that, again, creating more and more relationships out there that will help these people. God forbid that they have an emergency. We'll have all of that. It's almost having family responding to your home, knowing your information.
And that's what it's all about, the family and relationships and the trust building. So thanks for all you do, Jim. And thanks for being with us today.
I really did enjoy the opportunity of being here.
And we enjoyed talking to you and learning a few more fun facts. So thanks.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Meaningful Mondays. At the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, we know that philanthropy matters and philanthropy works. Together, we support the arts, education, human services, animal welfare, the environment, heritage enhancements, and so much more by providing services, programs, and grants to our local nonprofits. We invite you to learn more and share your passion with us. Visit us at middlesexcountykcf.org or contact us at 860-347-0025. Together we can make great things happen.